that you love, covering all things professional wrestling. A show by members of the Busted Open Nation. Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, the Nation's Corner crew.
What is going on, Nation's Corner family? I'm your host, Tony Justice, and with me are my cast of characters for today. Below me, he is the bad mofo from South Jersey. Someone you don't want to meet in a dark alley. The one, the only John in South Jersey. How's it going, brother?
What's up, Tony?
Not much, man. Out here in
For the
California.
record, I don't want to meet me in a dark alley either.
All right. And of course, we have the beautiful, the great, the powerful, the one, the only Debhausen. How's it going, Deb?
I'm good. It's been a crazy week, but here we are on Saturday. We got some good wrestling ahead of us on Collision tonight. We had some good wrestling all this week. So let's go.
Yeah, before we get snowed in again.
Right. Speaking of snow, I think Mark set a booby trap for me in New Mexico. I was driving through New Mexico yesterday and I went through a dang blizzard. Like, it was pretty rough too.
Oh shit.
Getting over here to California.
Welcome.
He did. He couldn't meet me in person, so he sent his snow blizzard to meet me. So got over here to California. I'm in beautiful Barstow, California right now. This is the only part of California I like.
Say hi to Roman for me.
I'm on my way to LA. What's up, Drake? On my way to Pomona to load Monday. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm here for the weekend, and y'all, I want to share some news with y'all. This morning at 9 a.m., I became a great uncle. My great niece was born 9 o'clock this morning, Miss Emery, and I cannot wait to meet her when I get home. I've had a lot of reflection today because, you know, I've been an uncle for a while, you know, but then, you know, because I don't have any kids, so my niece and nephew were my, you know, they're who I hold close to me as my kids, right? But I've been lucky being a truck driver, and I've been lucky to be there, watch them grow up, and watch them do things, and be part of their lives, you know. And now my niece has a baby, so it's kind of weird to realize that, but nonetheless, I can't wait to meet her when I get home. So I'm excited about that. Just wanted to share that with y'all.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Hope
Yeah,
thank you.
congratulations.
Always welcome a new addition to the family.
Right.
Yeah.
So now let's get started with the wrestling festivities. Deb was right. We have a lot of stuff that happened this week. We've got Elimination Chamber matches or qualifying matches, you know, to see who's going to be the Elimination Chamber. Some that you figured would be in the Elimination Chamber, and some that you did not think would be in the Elimination Chamber. Two that come to mind is
they're so good you can't remember their names.
Javon Evans. He's so new to the main roster. That boy's bouncy. Well, he bounced right into the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And then you have Kiana James from yesterday who won. And you know, I was thinking going into that match, you know, that Charlotte was a shoe-in, but no.
Right.
They threw us a little swerve.
Yeah, once in a while, as we've seen across all of wrestling, they just throw a curveball in or a swerve to shake things up. And, you know, especially with WWE, and they have, well, all of wrestling has this embarrassment of talent right now. But, and we all get used to it and very complacent with, you know, seeing, and no matter what company you watch, you know that there's that core group of, you know, 5 or 10 men and women in that company that you always expect to see in the main events, in the big stories and all that. But once in a while, they throw a curve in. Now you have fresh new blood in Javon Evans that has absolutely exploded from NXT in this transition to the main roster. And I was more surprised and much more interested now in Kiana James, who was a standout in NXT and got moved up. Unfortunately, she had an injury. She blew out her knee, so that cost her. But then they bring her back kind of as the manager of Julia, which was an unlikely pair, but has seemingly worked out very well for both of them. And now here she is. She's getting a big spotlight and a very big pay-per-view match. No, I don't think she's going to win the Elimination Chamber, but why not? It's one of these things that, when we think we know what's going to happen, no, we don't.
Right.
One thing they said on Busted Open this morning that I would agree with is that Kiana James was just kind of there before, and really since the Rumble has made people notice her. Like me personally, just kind of observing what the discussions are and, gauging fan reaction. I have noticed more people talking about Kiana. So, that's definitely indicative of, she's getting over.
Oh. And just for that comment, you mean her?
Yep. We pulled that just for you, Neil. Just for you.
Yep. Got that picture just for you, Neil.
But
yeah,
it's and even watching SmackDown last night, and again they mentioned it on Busted Open today. Kiana James was getting cheers. She was getting crowd reaction. That as it seems funny that you would notice something like that, but it hasn't really happened. So whatever they're doing or whatever she's doing, and it's obviously working.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So real quick, I just want to run down since Elimination Chamber is next week. For the men's, we have Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and one to be determined that I'm assuming they will do on Raw.
Yes, that the last qualifier is Monday night.
And then for the women's, we have Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Kiana James, and then another one TBD. Yeah. So it is really shaping up to be a decent group of people. Definitely, like you said, there's been people like Charlotte that we thought were going to be in, but aren't. So obviously with only, a few spots, like it's obviously really limited and there's going to be people left out. I'm surprised that Bailey isn't in there. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Wait, let's put it in proper context. Not surprised, or yes, and people could be left out, but who's not in WrestleMania yet?
Right.
Cody.
We still have time to get to WrestleMania. Now, yes, Elimination Chamber is the last big stop before, but that doesn't mean just because your guy or girl didn't get in through the Elimination Chamber doesn't mean that's it. We're not going to see him again until next year.
Right.
So and that always makes it, or to me makes it most interesting about this time of year, this road to WrestleMania, coming from Rumble through Elimination Chamber to Mania. Yeah, because you're right, it's only a certain amount of spots, and in even the Elimination Chamber, it's only one person from each match.
Yeah,
right.
So. But you still have all these other stories and people involved in things that going forward, just because they didn't win the Elimination Chamber doesn't mean that they're not going to have a spot or a match in Mania.
Right.
And sometimes that's more interesting than who won or who didn't win the Elimination Chamber matches.
Right. It kind of goes back to my point that I made last week about how the main event picture is muddied up sometimes, and doesn't mean that just because they're in the main event picture doesn't mean they have to go after the world championship. The winner,
Right.
the winner of the Elimination Chamber, one from each men's and women's, they get their pick of who they want to wrestle for the world championship. So that's it. The rest of the card, all the other main eventers that aren't in, like Bailey or Charlotte, they talked about on Busted Open this morning about how it seems like Jade and Charlotte are cooking up something, but Jade is a champion, and she's going to have someone from the Elimination Chamber whoever wins that is going to be going after Jade. So we think, Liv and Stephanie are cooking up something on Raw, so we assume that's going to be the match for WrestleMania. But we don't know. We don't know yet. But yeah, Jade and Charlotte are definitely cooking up something, because there was definitely some tension last night when I love when Charlotte came out when Jade was walking to the back and Charlotte just comes out and kind of just
right past her.
Yes, yeah, and then she gets right back in her face I was expecting her to get blasted from behind when Charlotte walked past her that second time, but that was cool. And then the after effect of Charlotte losing that match, with Kiana winning, in the back with Alexa, saying she's fine, whatever, because Alexa's in the Elimination Chamber match. So and hey, Alexa could win the Elimination Chamber. She's been world champion before. But yeah, so the road to WrestleMania is definitely got some curves in it. So we'll see what happens. There's plenty of time between now and the Elimination Chamber's next weekend, and then WrestleMania is just looming over the horizon right after that. So we'll see what happens. One thing I wanted to bring up, we've been talking shows past about Cody Rhodes, and we've been talking about on the show how Cody is showing certain heel tendencies, certain things he's doing. I made a comment the other day about how, well, it's been about a month or so ago where
The other day.
Yeah, the other day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a comment about how when he comes out and cuts a promo, it's like he's snarling, and he's got this snarl on his face, and he's yelling. He's been wearing his tracksuit out to the ring a lot lately. Even when he wears his suits, Bully was even saying, way back when on Busted Open, how Cody's language that he uses, the way he talks, the words that he uses, and the way he dresses comes across as a heel. He comes across heelish. Dave is the super Cody fan, so Dave's always saying, no, Bully's wrong, whatever. But you could track it all the way back to when Bully was noticing it, and Bully even made me had me make him a graphic of Cody, the Anakin picture where his eyes are, the hood's
Where
covered
his
just
eyes are
as
red, yeah.
Well, Bully,
that's when he's like officially Sith.
yeah.
Yes.
Bully had me make a graphic of Cody in that picture. So that's been like 2 years ago. So and now present day, he's continuing to come out, cutting promos, cutting kind of heelish promos. He showed up at Drew's house a few weeks ago. You don't really think a babyface is doing that,
No.
And he's him and Sammy backstage last night. Their interaction, it just seems like it's kind of brewing. And John, I know you wanted to say something a while ago. So what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, Cody's a heel. Number one, Cody is absolutely a heel. I'm waiting for the hair to go jet black again, and even the cheesy mustache to come back. So let's get that out of the way. Cody is a heel. But my thought was, and as we were talking before the show, wrestling to me is, besides being ever changing, is honestly, it's evolving. we have all grown up and had absolutely ingrained in our fandom. You have black hats and white hats, good guys and bad guys,
Yes.
good versus evil. That's always been, but that doesn't say that the overall product, and especially in a case like this with Cody, good guys do bad things. And conversely, bad guys do good things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know if it's by design, if it's us as fans gravitating towards certain parts or certain things, or that they're consciously doing it in the writing, in the storytelling. But it's hard to say. And AEW is famous for that.
Yes.
In AEW, we say yay for everybody. Their quote unquote biggest heel, MJF, gets one of the most biggest and consistent crowd reactions anytime he appears. That music hits, the crowd blows up.
And I'm dancing in my chair.
Yes. But, and that's, but how is that possible?
So I have a theory, and I think it's one of the things that is indicative of how wrestling fandom has evolved over time. Wrestling fans know more than ever before about how things work in wrestling, making a show, and the talent that it takes to be a professional wrestler and everything that is involved in the work that they do. Wrestling fans are more aware than ever before. And I think the quote, yay for everything thing is more of the fact that wrestling fans appreciate and recognize the talent that people have, like MJF. Yes, he's a heel. Yes, he is a heel character that we're supposed to boo, and we do at certain times when it's warranted, when he says something dastardly in his promos or whatever. And I certainly see a fair share of backlash against him when he says something potentially offensive. Sure. But we still pop when he comes out, and we still like cheer him at times. And because we recognize the talent that he has, we recognize that he's one of the most talented people in wrestling right now. And we're not going to like hate him like old school heel heat would have the fans hate someone, because we, at the end of the day, we know that they are a performer portraying a character, and we recognize that he's really, really, really good at what he does.
Yeah, that is true.
And even MJF has done good things as a bad guy.
Yes,
like he put Bandito over after their match and told that man he will be a world champion one day when he's no longer champion, and then kicked him in the nuts. But it's still a true heel wouldn't have put the guy over. He would have said, yeah, that's right, I should have beat you, and here, on the way out, take a kick in the nuts as well. So, and
that speaks to the complicated nature of the characters, even if they're a bad guy that we're supposed to dislike. Characters are complicated. Well-rounded characters have a human side, even if they're a bad person that does bad things. And you see that in TV shows and movies all the time. Tony Soprano is a perfect example. Tony Soprano is a piece of shit, but the way the character is played and the way the character is written, it makes you feel for the guy in certain instances. It makes him sympathetic. And so we see it in TV shows and movies all the time. I think wrestling historically was one of those things where people like really had that separation between good guy and bad guy. Like there was a clear separation, no mixture.
Right.
And now as we evolve as fans, like we want something more realistic. We know it's not realistic that the good guy always does the noble thing. We know that it's more realistic that sometimes the good guy does the selfish thing because they just want to get ahead.
Yeah. Speaking of bad guys, sympathetic, getting sympathy and stuff. What have we been saying about Drew McIntyre? Drew McIntyre, yes, he's a heel, but everything he's saying is true.
Yeah.
Everything that he is saying in interviews
Mhm.
and on promos on TV are true. So, like CM Punk said, tell me when I'm telling lies. I mean, and Cody, yes, he's a babyface. He's all about the kids, and he has the pomp and circumstances through his entrance, and
Mhm.
it's almost to me. And I was watching it last night, and I was thinking about this while he was coming out. He has the pyro, the whoa, and all the stuff he does before he even gets to the ring. He goes to
Mhm.
each corner of the ramp, and he's pumping everybody up, and it's like it's every time he comes out, it's the same thing, and it's almost to the point. I called in on Busted Open on Sunday a few Sundays ago, and talked to Jay Hood and Justin LaBar, and gave a confession, and my confession was that I feel like just as Roman Reigns was fed down our throats or forced down our throats when he was the big dog, I feel the same thing is starting to happen with Cody Rhodes. I feel like he's being forced down our throats. And some people may disagree with me, and that's fine. This is just my opinion. But
Right.
I feel like Cody might even realize that too. And maybe this is why we're starting to get a different character from Cody. And only time will tell. You know, uh, Darth Vader wasn't created overnight.
No.
So,
Took
so
years.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
I don't necessarily, I wouldn't put it that he's being forced down our throats in the same way that Roman was back then, but I just think that, like, when someone is on top for that long, and we had, a really decent, a good lengthy championship run from him, obviously not as long as Roman's, but a good championship run, and he's been QB1 for some time now.
mhm,
So I think naturally over time, it's going to happen that it comes to a certain point where just fans are going to want to see something different.
Mhm.
We've been seeing the same thing for how long now? I want to see something different. And I think that's what it is. And as far as Cody being a heel, I just want to go back to that. I remember saying, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, that I thought that Cody's heel turn wasn't going to be like one defining moment where everybody was like, oh my God, he's turning heel. It was going to be more of a gradual, like, just a change in behavior.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we've seen, and we're on here every week talking about, oh, Cody's showing heel tendencies,
mhm,
like Mark said on Busted Open this morning, like, Cody is a heel. There ain't no more like, oh, he's starting to show, oh, could he be turning? It's happened. It
Mhm.
is. He is. And it's like I said, it's more just of a gradual change in behavior, not just one defining moment that makes the heel turn.
yeah. One quote I'd like to bring to the table from this morning when Mark was talking about all that and all the fans thinking one way about Cody and, or whatever. And Mark said, and I quote, "The water might hit you in the face and you might think that it's rain, but I know pee when I see it." I was I was driving down the road. He said that, and I fucking popped off.
I think I was driving as well at that moment, and I popped too. That was funny.
It was.
That's what I
Mark,
call a Mark Henryism.
Henryism. That's right.
Mm.
That's right.
Yes.
Because he's got a lot of them. He's got a lot of them. He said some. He said one few years ago. Him and Bully. I remember it was him and Bully on, and it was something about hoe in a row or something like that in the garden. I can't remember what
That
it
was
was.
years
I can't remember the
ago.
exact.
That
I
was
can't remember
years
the.
ago.
Yeah, it was.
It's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah,
Tough
that's
road to
it.
hoe,
That's it.
yes.
Yeah.
Dave was like, "What'd you just say?"
What'd
Yeah.
you just call me?
Yes.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Cody, he's the heel, man. He is.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
and it yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
it's like I said earlier, there's plenty of road to WrestleMania. You
Yes.
know, we could see something happen. You know, and I wanted to throw this out at y'all too. I think with Drew and Cody and Jacob Fatu are all, you know, quarreling with each other right now.
Mhm.
They're all in this story right now. I feel like we're gonna get a triple threat match by the time it's all said and done. I feel like we're gonna get a triple threat at WrestleMania between
Mm.
Drew, Jacob, and
They should
Cody.
do it.
I
If
think
they
that's
will,
likely.
if they will or not is to be determined. But absolutely, they should. And
Yeah.
especially coming off the interview that they did on Busted Open earlier in the week with Jacob Fatu. And if you
Hmm.
haven't heard it, take it. It's unfortunately very short. He was only on for about a half hour, but it's a really, really good interview and a really good look into Jacob Fatu as a person.
Yeah.
But that guy has absolutely just come to the WWE and kicked down the door, and it's absolutely working. That guy is absolutely a main eventer. He's a main eventer
Yes.
on the mic. He's a main eventer in the ring, and he is proving consistently week after week that he can absolutely hang with anybody in WWE. And the
Right.
fans, rightfully so, are getting behind him. And him doesn't matter because remember, he came in. There was another one that came in as a heel character, another badass Samoan. Like we need
Hmm.
one. There's only like
Hmm.
10,000 of them in
Yeah.
wrestling, but we have one, so here we are. But just his evolution in WWE, especially, has been really remarkable to the point where they can't deny him of anything.
Right.
And if they leave him off of something or out of something or something in WrestleMania, all right, granted, it might not be a title match, but I'll guarantee he's on the card somewhere in WrestleMania in one of the nights in
Hmm.
a very featured match, if not for a championship.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I would agree with that as well. Let's go over to AEW since we were talking about Hangman and MJF. We had the face off of them on Wednesday on Dynamite. I think it caused a lot of that's a good picture. I think it caused a lot of confusion because of what Hangman said. I rewatched it earlier, and so Hangman pulled a Cody. Everyone said it. Hangman pulled a Cody. He said that his offer for the stipulation is Texas Death Match, and if he loses, he's never going to challenge for the AEW World Championship again.
To which
And on
MJF,
Wednesday, yes, and everybody freaked out immediately and was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But we still have to get MJF's acceptance on that. On Wednesday on Dynamite, we will see if MJF accepts that stipulation or if he suggests something else and something else gets agreed upon. So we will see on Wednesday on Dynamite. It's funny though, because I was looking at my Blue Sky feed because obviously everybody knows there's a
hippies
lot of
hang out
AEW fans
there.
on Blue Sky.
That's what
And
hippies
it
are.
was so funny because immediately, like, the entire feed was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, you dumbass? Why would you do that? You pulled a Cody. Why would you do that?" And everybody was freaking out. And then I saw one post that was like, "Am I the only one that realizes that it hasn't been set in stone yet? And is Cody the only one in wrestling history that actually stuck to a stipulation like that?"
Well, that was kind of my point because I don't hang out with the hippies like you do, Deb. But I saw the same thing across Twitter, Instagram, all that. People, relax, take a breath. It's not over. Relax. It's gonna be okay. We are living, especially in wrestling, in the land of make believe. To steal a line from Uncle Bully. they do it just for that reaction. Oh my God! Oh, the world's ending. No. But it got you. It got everybody talking.
Exactly.
It got
And
everybody in.
I think it's funny because I see this a lot with the AEW fan base, is that people legit do buy into it. Like, people are really immersed in everything that's happening and pay attention to all the details, and people really buy in. And that was just one like extreme case of it where everybody freaked out immediately. And yeah, it's still real to me. Exactly. And yeah, and someone pointed out, like, you know, throughout wrestling history, obviously I'm not an older wrestling fan, so I only know from seeing things, but they said throughout wrestling history that, you know, we've had a lot of stipulations like that, like loser leaves the company, or you know, he even posted a graphic from Undertaker, and I can't remember who else it was, that like loser leaves the WWF match, and obviously that didn't happen,
right?
And so yeah, there are plenty of creative ways that they can make sense of it and figure it out that it's not actually going to happen. And yeah, someone pointed out that in wrestling history, like Cody actually sticking to that stipulation might be the only example of that type of stipulation like being followed through.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, wasn't that sorry, John.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask Deb, wasn't that stipulation for that match with Anthony Ogogo? No, wasn't him.
I can't remember who it was against. No, because Anthony Ogogo never had
he wasn't
anything to do with the championship.
Right.
It was a TNT championship, and I don't remember who the TNT champion was at the time. And if
I can't remember.
It had to be a world championship, didn't it? Because it was the world championship.
It was about the world championship, yes, because that was the thing that everybody was upset about, because it limited Cody and what he could do if he was never involved in the championship title picture.
Right.
And
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. We're getting old, John. We're getting old, John.
Well, that too, and I've been hitting the head a lot. But
well, and Seth brings up a good point in the chat. We were talking about this earlier. Steve Macklin got the fired briefcase on TNA a couple weeks ago, and he's still been on every show.
Yeah. Still asking for meetings.
Who is Hometown Man? He got the Feast or Fired briefcase as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, folks, land of make believe. So just relax. Let it play out. You know, save your freak out for something, you know, earth shattering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
really earth shattering.
Right. So I want to bring this up. So talking about Hangman and MJF, you know, we've still got time to play this out because Revolution is March 15th, day after my birthday.
It's MJF's birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they've got time to come to a, you know, whatever the stipulation is going to be. And I want to see MJF carry this championship for a while. I don't want to see him drop it to Hangman.
Yes.
The only way I see MJF dropping it to Hangman is if MJF has some sort of movie he's filming or has to go away and film something and come back. I don't really want to see that either, because I want MJF to. He's your top heel in your company, and he's your champion, and he's doing such an amazing job with the championship, so far as to defending it last night at House of Glory against Zilla Fight 2, and as Seth pointed out earlier, you know, just as MJF put over Bandito after he wrestled him, he put over Zilla Fight 2 last night after he wrestled him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I was hoping that last night, that MJF was not going to announce that Zilla was all elite, because, you know, Zilla is going to be amazing one day. But I think that he needs to come into that, get a little more maturity under your belt first.
Yeah.
You know, no show in an interview.
Yeah. Twice.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Twice. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
I think it was a good test for him going against somebody on the level that MJF is.
Sure.
It was a good test for him. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he definitely has a lot of maturing to do. You know, we've seen recently his conflicts within people in the business. You know, he said something about GCW and Brett Lauderdale, and Brett Lauderdale posted a very well thought out response, and said, you know, there's a reason why he's not on TV with the rest of his family, and it's not because of lack of talent. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a good test for him going against MJF. You know, I even said to you guys, I was really hoping that after the match we didn't get that announcement that he was signed, because we got that, you know, just not that long ago with Alec Price and Jordan Oliver.
Right.
AEW just doesn't need a problem child, honestly. Like, you know, he's a talented guy. If he gets his head on straight, he will be successful. But AEW doesn't need that right now.
He doesn't need to grow up in AEW.
No.
As we know, that has not worked out well for AEW in the past on various levels.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But point I was going to make, and then I got on that.
Sorry.
I want to see MJF carry this championship a while, and the only way I see him dropping it is All In Wembley. If Will Ospreay comes back, Will Ospreay versus MJF. That's when I think MJF should drop the title to Will Ospreay. But, you know, we got to get past Revolution first, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. And I also, you know, John, you wanted to say something, because I want to move on to another.
I was going to say the same thing, but, you know, here's the other thing that is kind of, I've been considering on this. We've seen Hangman MJF with the title before. We have seen them in main event matches before. How do we keep it? How do they keep it fresh, ongoing? I mean, this is what, the third or fourth time that MJF and Hangman have squared off, and I believe the third time now for the title. You know, you have to keep doing something different to keep it fresh. And
where's the swerve of it all?
Well, there is the swerve of it all. But I think the ultimate goal is what you just said, Tony, is MJF Will Ospreay. But speaking of Swerve, you have a guy that is very much prominent in your main event picture and very much prominent with everybody else involved in the main event picture. And, you know, where does he fit in? You know, this guy.
Yeah.
You know, the baddest man in AEW. You know, and that's, you know, that also is to be determined going forward, because you're not really quite sure. Now they had that fantastic, him and Kenny Omega had that fantastic match, which we all knew it was going to be.
Yes.
And you know, and anybody who doubted that Kenny Omega's done and he can't go anymore, go watch Swerve and Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
You know,
it was incredible.
It's, you know, and it's so good that, you know, somebody's going to be wind up being left out of this. And that's kind of and ultimately that's kind of a shame, because it's not for a lack of ability or talent or anything that those guys have been doing, but it ultimately comes down to one guy versus another guy for the championship or whatever. I'm always interested in the what's next and the ancillary parts. Where does Swerve go? Where does Ospreay actually fit in, and how do they bring him back? You know, where does MJF go if he does happen to drop the title? We went on this big long chase with him, and him being gone just to come back to become champion. Now, at some point, he should and will lose it, then what?
Right.
You know, yeah, and the meanwhile, all of these guys are so over with the fan base and so popular. It almost like it doesn't matter. You can mix it up again, back to the land of make believe. You can come up with some outrageous storyline or stipulation, and AEW fans be like, okay, yeah, we'll like it. Okay, yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a great problem to have, but it's still kind of a problem because, you know, like I said, somebody's going to get left out. And it's the same actually in all companies. It's the same in WWE. But how they navigate it all is always what interests me, and what they come up with, you know, going forward. You know, you give me the match now. Great. I'm well invested. I know the story behind it. I know the two people involved in the story. Perfect. But then what?
Right.
And
I think that MJF's going to get past Hangman at Revolution. Ospreay's going to come back. That's going to start the road to Ospreay versus MJF at All In. I think Hangman is then going to get tied up with Swerve because Swerve turned heel, and Swerve wants to prove himself as the most dangerous man in AEW. After Brody was called the most dangerous man in AEW, Swerve wants to prove that it's him. I noticed earlier this afternoon, I rewatched a few parts of Dynamite just so that it was fresh in my head. And in the opening, we got, you know, those quick little kind of promos to set the table for the show that we've been used to seeing on Collision. And now they're doing it on Dynamite, which I really love. But Swerve said, I need this. I need this. Yeah. And then at the end of the show, when he turned, the very last shot before they fade to black is Swerve saying, I needed this. So that's like beginning of the show, end to the show, bookends with Swerve. I thought that was really interesting that I noticed when I was rewatching parts this morning. And to me, like, I think the Swerve and Hangman saga has been one of the best things throughout the course of the history of AEW. And I personally, as a fan, am perfectly okay if they revisit that once in a while. Like, these two guys, I think, are like wrestling soulmates. That they can go on and have other feuds and battle with other people, but they're always gonna, like magnets, come back to each other.
Come back to it. And the beauty of that is, A, you're absolutely right, and B, they have such history, especially in AEW. They can revisit it at any time for any reason. At, you know, whenever, you know, we can't put them together. You know, just say, hey, we're putting you two back together. Go do what you do. Don't burn your houses down this time.
Well, here's my take on it. So, you know, yes, Kenny Omega, Swerve was awesome. You know, match of the year candidate in my opinion. It was, I mean, to have that match on Dynamite was a treat. Because that was a pay-per-view quality match that they had. But the end, I didn't see.
Hold on, sorry. Nerd.
Anyway,
so the funny thing is, he actually heard that, like in stereo live.
Yeah, right.
Your wine system now has my train of thought now.
I'm sorry.
So when they come out and they have their great match in the end, you know, when Swerve turned heel, I didn't really think about it until just now. I mean, 5 minutes ago. The mud around the World Championship, you know, all the talent that's gunning for MJF, or that were gunning for MJF, you know, not counting Brody, but Brody is a babyface. You had Hangman, babyface. Swerve, babyface. Kenny Omega, babyface. MJF, heel.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that with Swerve turning heel is needed right now because I feel like there were too many baby faces around that championship picture. So now that Swerve is heel, Heyman's going to remain a babyface. So we're going to get that ultimate battle between the two, and it'll be what we would expect in a babyface versus heel match, you know.
Right.
But Deb had a good point. She told me about a couple of days ago, where there's a lot of talent, and not just in AEW, but throughout wrestling right now. Drew McIntyre, as an example. They're supposed to be a heel, but they get cheered or they get booed.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what they are portraying the character is. If the crowd likes them, no matter what, if they're babyface or heel, they're going to cheer them or boo them.
Right. Mhm.
You know. And I
Yeah.
thought Deb had a good point when she was talking to me about that. Deb, if you wanna expound on that, you can. But that was
So
interesting to me.
I think it struck me when I was listening to Drew's interview on Busted Open. And that a common criticism of AEW, and I think I just said this before, a common criticism of AEW is people are like, well, who's the face and who's the heel? I don't know who to cheer for. Well, they present the characters and the fans are allowed to decide who you side with based on who you think is the right one in the situation. Hangman and Swerve's saga is a good example of that. When Hangman burned Swerve's house down, people cheered him and
Mhm.
people rallied on social media saying
One
Hangman
more
did
time.
nothing
One
wrong.
more time.
And those two, like that storyline there that led up to that, both of them did pretty awful things, and
Right.
both of them had a section of the fan base that was cheering for them and sided with them. And Drew is a great example as well, and Punk is a great example as well. And it's becoming more and more common, and kind of goes along with what we were talking about before, that the storylines in current wrestling right now are being done in a way that allows the fans to decide who they want to side with.
Mhm.
That there is no clear-cut baby face or heel, no clear-cut good guy or bad guy. It's left up to the fans. Every individual viewer can decide who they side with in a particular story. And yeah, it's something that struck me when we were listening to Drew, but I think Swerve and Hangman is the best example of it that I can think of. And personally, that's one of the things that I've always loved about AEW is that I think the characters are more realistic
Well,
than what we've seen a lot in the past.
right. Speaking of the past, you know, that's how Stone Cold Steve Austin became Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mhm.
He was supposed to be a heel, but the crowd got behind him after that Austin 316 promo, King of the Ring 96. I mean, boom, a star was born. And
Right.
he was doing everything in his power to get booed, but the crowd would not boo him. They were cheering him. And on the other hand, you had The Rock, Rocky Maivia, who was a babyface, but the crowd hated him. And so basically he turned heel because of that.
Mhm.
So those are two examples right there. And then speaking of The Rock, you had when Roman won the Royal Rumble in Philly, and The Rock was in the ring presenting him to the crowd, and the crowd did not want to cheer him at all. They were booing him to the
Right.
point to where The Rock was like, he couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
Right.
But that's just it. The crowd wants what the crowd wants. Cody getting the main event at WrestleMania 40. The crowd wants what the crowd wants. So thanks to Dave LaGreca, we got Cody versus Roman.
Yeah.
So yeah, Deb, that was an interesting topic. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, AEW always has been very fan driven and fan attentive. Not to say that WWE at times isn't also, but WWE has 70 plus years of history to know what's right and what's wrong and what works and what doesn't work. And if the formula, still works today, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Whereas AEW, being the new company, being still relatively new to the wrestling space, they can take these chances. And it's starting, and for a while, all of us, everyone was like, this is awful. This is never going to last. All this. I'm glad Tony Khan has a lot of money. I hope he has some stuck away in the sock drawer, because he's going to go broke trying to fund this thing. But fortunately, they have, tightened the screws in certain areas and steered the ship in a different direction and stuff, and it's working. And
well, I can tell you that the AEW fan base feels that the reason why AEW went downhill for a while is because they tried to accommodate to the WWE style too much. They tried to be too much like WWE, and it turned a lot of people off, and they weren't successful at it. So they have slowly gone back to doing what they do best, is being the alternative.
Yes.
WWE is, they're the largest company in North America, and they are global, and they are going to cater to kind of the average fan, the average person who may not even be much of a wrestling fan. There is a large chunk of WWE viewers who aren't really necessarily pro wrestling fans, but they like the entertainment. They go to shows because it's like when the circus comes to town. You go to shows because it's entertainment. And AEW is AEW because they are the alternative that caters specifically to the more hardcore pro wrestling fan.
Sure.
And that's just what they need to be. Like, they don't need to try to be the biggest company in the country or the biggest company in the world. Just do what you do and be the alternative. Be the show that hardcore wrestling fans like the most.
Well, we talk about that all the time. And I go back to the old Eric Bischoff quote. You can be better than, less than, or different than. Well, or bigger than. I'm sorry. Well, they're not going to be bigger. You're talking about a global company seen in literally everywhere that has a television.
And they're not designed to be bigger. They're designed to be the alternative to the bigger.
And certainly you're not going to spend all that money and put all those people to work to be less than, obviously. So what's that leave? That leaves different than. And AEW certainly has shown to be different than. And to further prove my point, and now that we can legitimately talk about them as a third player in the market, TNA is a perfect example of that. Now, there's a lot of people that have only become basically familiar with TNA through either NXT or now that they're on AMC. But there's 25 years of history, folks. And it's all out there. And this company, and they went through way worse stuff and people than WWE and AEW ever did. But yet they still survived. Why? Because they found their niche and they found their lane and they stay in it. And they grow their fan base and have grown the fan base. The numbers coming back from AMC right now are growing and trending upward every week. But they just do what they do because it works. And it's, kept them going and thriving, to now they are legitimate third major brand,
Right.
Same with, and I know not everybody likes it and they go GFY. GCW is the perfect example of that, finding your lane.
Yes.
They have grown into this major company, absolutely the biggest quote unquote on the indies. And the only reason why they're considered indies is because they don't have television. However, thanks to Triller Plus, they run pay-per-views almost every weekend. They basically run their TV show every week.
Yeah.
in a different city, but you can absolutely see connective tissue between the shows. They're not just matches for the sake of matches. There's ongoing stories in GCW that you see every week.
Yes.
In a different city,
Good stories.
Town, and exactly that. Good stories. But again, no advertising, no television, but yet they have absolutely mastered that particular area of their market, and there's no other competition for them anywhere.
Right. And yeah, like you said, they put on nearly weekly TV, or they do their long weekends where they have, 2 or even 3 shows, days in a row, at different locations. They are off this weekend, and next weekend, but March 6th, 7th, and 8th, they will be having shows. So yeah, Triller TV Plus, like I definitely highly recommend for any wrestling fan that is interested in stuff on the indies is Triller TV Plus. Because not only GCW, but you get a whole bunch of stuff. We watched House of Glory last night on Triller Plus. We watched Pro Wrestling Revolver on Triller Plus. I get daily alerts of what shows are live on Triller Plus. So yeah, definitely highly recommend. But yeah, GCW has found their niche, and they are the most successful indie in the country, and they travel the world. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah. 2 things we highly recommend. 1 being GCW, 2 being VPN.
Yeah.
Highly recommend
That's another
VPN.
thing.
Fuck you, Coach. VPNs are awesome.
Yes.
I know. So Mark was flabbergasted this morning when Denise told him to get a VPN because you don't get ads on WWE. He was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And her response was, "Oh, you didn't know?"
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be.
You need to phone a friend, Mark Henry, and call somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those who aren't on the VPN train, just do it. It's super easy. It'll save you a ton of money. For WWE, you don't have to have a whole bunch of different apps. You just watch everything on Netflix then with no ads. For AEW, it's helpful because then you can get access to the pay-per-views on the international feed on Triller for a much lower price than what we have to pay here in the US.
Yeah.
So for both companies, VPN is definitely a plus.
Yes.
It'll save you a lot of money.
Get a VPN. Yeah. See, we're not even getting we're not even sponsored by any VPN service, and here we are plugging them.
Yeah.
And it's really super easy. Like, I wish I had signed up for one earlier because I thought it was going to be some high tech thing that I wouldn't have the tech knowledge to be able to do. And once I really looked into it, I was like, oh my God, it's you literally just like any other app that you download. You download the app, you sign up for the plan, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
it. And pick where you want to go. I'm going to Canada here as soon as we get off the show.
Country.
I was going to say, I'm going to Manchester, England.
Easy.
Go stand across on the Concord, and jam with the Stones.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick before we wind down here, I know Collision is starting right now. We have one funny thing I want to mention is tonight we have the Death Riders, Mox, Pac, and Yuta versus the Don Callis family, Takeshita, Mark Davis, and I believe that's Clone. One funny thing I noticed earlier this afternoon as I was scrolling my Blue Sky feed, some very attentive people noticed AEW posted a graphic for that match. To promote the match for tonight, and they still had Wheeler with the same picture that he's been for all the graphics with his long
looking like
hair.
Shaggy Dog.
Within minutes, they deleted that post, and people on Blue Sky were like, "What the fuck? They deleted it? Are they changing the match? Like, what's happening?" They reposted it with the new image of Yuta with a beanie with a hood over it. So they have kept us in the dark so far. We have not seen Yuta's head yet. Right. Very, very clever on their part.
Now, the best part of that is if they left his head from Australia. Like they didn't touch it.
If they haven't fully cut it yet and it's still disheveled and splotchy.
That would absolutely be the best. Absolutely. Yeah. Because we all know, obviously, he shaved his head because he wasn't going to live like that way. But what if he did? What if he said, I ain't going to touch the hell with him?
So I think this is really well done because not only are we getting this teaser that we haven't seen his head yet, but like I gotta say, that segment where they cut his hair, like, you know I haven't seen all the hair cutting segments in the history of pro wrestling, but that was probably the best one I've ever seen. I was so nervous for that because I think the initial reaction to like a hair cutting thing on a show is like, oh, it's going to be weird and awkward. Like, they're not going to be able to cut his hair or they're going to accidentally cut his scalp. Like it's just going to be awkward and slow.
Head shavings
they did it well.
Wrestling have not historically turned out well.
Right.
They rarely go right.
But I really liked the way they did it. Not only the fact that he attempted to run away from it and was like, no, I'm not doing this. He attempted to run away and Mox caught him and was like, no,
nope.
You made a deal. Get in there.
Get back in there.
And and the fact that I think like the way they did it where like they made it really funny instead of like super awkward. They made it really funny with everybody kind of taking a turn at taking a chunk out. Like they had scissors, they had the shaver. So yeah, I think that's honestly probably the best haircutting segment I've seen in wrestling. I liked the way they did it and the way that they're teasing you.
Yeah.
Dirty, real quick. I know you're about to cut out. Please tell Uncle Bully that Nation's Corner says hi.
Tell him I said
what. And be careful, man. Enjoy yourself. So yeah, enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's our show for the day, and hope you enjoyed it. Like we said at the beginning, there was a lot of wrestling that happened this week. So we're gonna cut out of here and watch some Collision. John, where can people find you on the socials, my man? You can get me at John in South Jersey on Instagram and the Twitter. And also on Instagram is where you can keep up with the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in all professional wrestling. Of course, I am talking about the AK9K, who is taking a well-deserved break this weekend because I'll get to that in a second. But you can keep up with all of his exploits at AssKicker9K on Instagram because he has the weekend off because his favorite tag team partner, one Miss Florida Ma'am, Lindsay Snow, is a team captain and participating in the annual Florida Man Games this weekend. Actually took place today. Think of Jackass meets Olympic events meets a really weird backyard barbecue. One of the events in the Florida Man Games is running from the cops. They actually made an event out of it. So it gives you an idea. It is absolutely right in Lindsay's wheelhouse, and she put the team together. And I wish it was streaming or anything because it does take place, obviously, in Florida. But I am waiting to hear how she did and can't wait to share with everybody how she did. Nice.
All right.
Deb, what about you?
At That's So Debonair on all the socials, I wanted to show, we didn't get to talk about it, but I'm wearing this shirt, which is one of my favorite shirts back from COVID, if you remember, from Anarchy in the Arena, Jericho. We didn't get to talk about it, but I think it's hilarious that Jericho hasn't done shit. He hasn't said shit, and the entire wrestling world is talking about him.
And he's still on the AEW roster.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out on AEW television laughing and saying he trolled all of us. He got all of us.
I would absolutely love that.
Yeah. So since we're showing shirts, mine, I got this Mount Rockmore shirt, Texas Rockmore.
Ooh.
It's Willie
Yeah, Willie, Buddy Holly, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Billy Gibbons from
Oh
ZZ
my
Top.
god, I love that. I
That's
actually
very
really
cool.
love that. It has Stevie Ray Vaughan on it.
Yeah. So, and y'all can find me at Tony Justice AJFA. And if you're a Metallica fan, like I know all of us are, and Elder is too. And by the way, want to send a big get well soon to Mr. Mongrovian Mike. Get well soon, brother. We love you. And if you're a Metallica fan like all of us are, you know what that means. Ooh!
Wow.
Happy wrestling. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you all on the flip.